Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dream Team Tonic podcast, episode 82, take 2. We had some technical issues last night, so this is our second attempt at this pod. So hopefully everything runs smoothly tonight and we don't keep losing James. I'm Tony, and with me, as usual, is Ben. Are you there, mate?
Hi, Tony. You all right, mate?
Good evening, mate. And James, are you there?
I'm here, mate.
Are you going to stay there?
I certainly hope so, mate. It was a bit of a mare last night, so hopefully the technical gremlins have gone.
Hopefully, mate. The early signs are good. So let's get into it. Big shout out to Jack Cummins, our newest patron. Thanks very much for the support, mate. Hopefully, you're enjoying all the membership benefits, like all the articles we've done, access to the Discord group, the Tonic watch list, and then you're going to get early access to the pods, all for the price of less than a coffee a month, which I think is pretty good value. If I may say so myself. Thanks to everyone who has been with us quite a while now. Got a good group of lads. Hopefully you're all finding the Discord and stuff helpful. So, James, it's game week 9. I know we've had a bit of an hard time for the first 8 game weeks. Hopefully this one's treated you a little bit better, mate. How have you done so far?
I have some points this week, Tony, which is always a bonus. 51 points. Made some substitutions. Took out Salah, brought in Foden. That worked out all right. Took out Lloris, brought in Kepa. And I took out Carvalho's, done absolutely nothing, and brought in Bowen. So pretty happy with the transfers I've made so far. I was going to take out Trent as well, but I saw Reece James wasn't starting against Chelsea. For Chelsea. So I wish I'd made that move because he came off the bench and he's starting tonight. I see, and now Trent's injured anyway. So there you go. Could have been even better. But yeah, so Kepa got me 8 at the back. I got 8 from Cucurella. Sessegnon finally got some returns with 5. My 2 Liverpool defenders let me down. We won't talk about that though.
We will.
Oh, Tony. Can we not talk about the other team beginning with L in the league?
Yeah, and then we'll go delve into them as well.
Hey, hey, isn't it funny how that we're since the last pod we won a match, but then we've gone and lost again.
Yeah, so you don't even get time to celebrate it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so Trent got me -2, Tsimikas got me -2, Sterling didn't start, but I think he's starting tonight. Bowen got me 5, Odegaard got me 4, Foden got me a nice 10-pointer, and up front, Kane got me 7, and Haaland out. Bit disappointing, and Haaland only got me 8. You know,
he might go down in price.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It wouldn't surprise me either. Yes. Decent, mate. Decent. Like I say, just a bit tentative with that Trent move.
Yeah, I should have done it.
I think it put a lot of people off with James being benched. I think quite a few people have had that move earmarked. But then it's the Rangers game midweek, which would have been, obviously, would have played, which probably held people back as well.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I thought, well, Trent might come. Well, Trent will probably play against Rangers. He could do well in that. So I've got a 2 for 1 there, really. Well, it didn't turn out that way because Reece came off the bench. I should have known better. That's the trouble with those types of moves, isn't it? Sometimes it's better just to go ahead with it, even if they don't start.
Yeah. You've been frustrated though if you had it done. Trent gets a clean sheet against Rangers. He don't get injured, and James sits up bench all game.
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah, you don't know, do you?
Hindsight's wonderful, isn't it?
I guess you'll be making that move next weekend, won't you?
I will be making that move, yeah, unless something happens to Reece James. I didn't want. I was thinking I would do it anyway because I don't fancy Liverpool's defence against City, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that move is nailed on, I think.
Yeah.
Triple Chelsea at the back then.
Yeah, triple Chelsea.
Back-to-back clean sheets for them, isn't it?
Yeah. About
Yeah.
Back clean
time.
sheets. Good fixtures.
About time, because we said on the last pod it was they've only had one clean sheet up to this weekend,
Yeah.
and the Champions League game before that against Milan.
Yeah. I mean, Potter had Brighton well drilled, didn't he? They were a good outfit. They were good at back. Brighton played some good stuff as well. Built a really nice team there. So they do all right at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I like Potter. I like him. Right, on to my team. One transfer made before the game week, which was Lloris to Kepa, which released a bit of budget for me. I think I got 1.1 million there, and obviously it's looking good for Kepa because he's starting again tonight against Milan. So it looks like he is the number one, and at that price, 2.6 million, you can't go wrong. Playing European games as well, the Chelsea side that have started to shore up a little bit. Happy with that move. The back four of Akanji, you got 8 points. Sessegnon 5 points. Dalot 0 points. Awobi scored that worldie, didn't he? Gomez 5 points. Got sent off tonight. I think he still come out with 2 points for that, didn't he? Because City kept a clean sheet.
Yeah.
So not too bad. Obviously, got to look into that now going forward. He's obviously going to be suspended. I think he was straight red as well. So that's a 3 game ban.
Two or three. I was reading it before. It said it's good. Hang on, I had it up. It says here in the Champions League, mostly when a player receives a red card, he misses the next match. But sometimes, in few cases, when the players gets a direct red card, it may happen that the player may miss 2 or 3 games according to the action which causes the player's red card. So it depends on the offence.
More like a professional foul, weren't it?
Last man, wasn't it? Like professional foul, yeah. I'd say at least two games.
Yeah, just want to keep an eye on, try and get hold of that news when it comes out.
Keep an eye on that, yeah.
So I think obviously Gomez. So we're doing it before this City game. So Gomez finished on 5, as he were. Odegaard 4 points. De Bruyne 5 points. Foden nice 10 points. He's absolutely on fire, Foden, isn't he? Absolutely on fire, that lad. Haaland, let's say, disappointing 8. Kane 7, and Jesus 5. And weird one with Jesus. I don't know if you've seen him get clattered. I was absolutely adamant he was going off that pitch, the way he fell.
That's because he was cheating, Tony. And if you notice, when he got up, it was like Lazarus. There was nothing wrong with him. Honestly. Joke. There's nothing wrong with him. He was trying to get Simicast sent off. No one can tell me any different. Like, he was cheating.
Right, and there you have it. Yeah, but
It's not Lazarus, he's Jesus.
Yeah, watching the way he fell. Now I know they cut the little replay short, so I wasn't too sure whether his head bounced off the floor, but the way he fell, he looked like he'd been knocked unconscious. So he obviously, I mean, Oscar for Jesus then, because like you say, he got up and he was just like, "What are you on about?"
He was
I'm
led
all
there
right.
motionless, and people were like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
"Are you still alive?" sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's obviously led there, going, "Oh, I'm going to get him sent off. I'm not going to move." And then you think, "Oh, he must be unconscious. Therefore,
Yeah.
he'll have to go off." And next thing you know, he's bouncing around.
Yeah, so when he stood up, as the doctor said to him, "Did you lose consciousness?" Have they asked him, and he's just gone, "No, I'm all right." And then he's all right to play on. From watching it, he had to go off the pitch in my eyes. So, yeah, they said they're going to monitor that, don't they, going forward, see if he had any concussion or whatever. But obviously, he didn't get touched, did he, James?
It was just a glancing blow. He was just putting it on Tony.
He'll be fine for the next game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there we have it. 65 points, 5-2-3. It's not doing too bad, my team, 5-2-3. But it is my second worst team. I've got all my
Really?
teams are blocked up, yeah. Apart from my Liverpool block at the start of the season, this team is my second worst team. I've got quite a few on late 500s now.
That's good, though.
So I've got a few places to attack from, which is always handy. I didn't have that last year, so it's nice to have a bit of option this year going forward. So yeah, in a decent place. Over to yours, Ben.
Yeah. I had a 69er this weekend. I mean, 69 points this weekend. Yeah.
His missus there. She just had to slap you that back head.
I had a transfer left on Thursday night, so to raise some funds, I used my cash cow Salah, got rid of him, and brought in Foden. So I got 2 million for that.
Cracking move.
Cheers, mate. And then on Sunday, I had Kulusevski and Harvey Elliott burning a hole in my team.
Yeah.
So I seen Jimbo and Scaramanga there. They were starting for West Ham. I fancied them, and I think they got good fixtures, so brought them in. You seen Skamaka's record now? He's averaging a goal every 96 minutes.
It's not bad, is it?
Pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, he does.
Settle.
He looks tidy, doesn't he? That little pitching wedge shot he did over the goalie. Wow, that was class.
Off his arm.
That would have been harsh, I think, if that was given for a pen. But I could see why the opposition manager was going mental.
Yeah, there's been a few iffy decisions regarding handballs this weekend, hasn't there?
There has Tony.
But yeah, we'll get into ref bashing. But he's definitely passing the eye test, Skamaka.
Yeah.
Definitely looks to business. Obviously, now he's took over from Antonio in the league matches, so he won't get as many minutes in the Europa League, but in the Europa Conference League, Papa John's. But yeah, I mean that's not too bad because he did come on to score last week, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 6 goals now this season. So
I mean, they've got good fixtures, haven't they, West Ham? It's a good one to attack this month. Your team is West Ham heavy. You've got over a quarter of your team West Ham. Then
I know, yeah. Yeah, well, I've got Palmieri in there. Last week, he come off the bench in the league for a 5-pointer, and he started the game against Anderlecht for another 5 points. He got me 10 points last week. And for that price, I just thought, I'll keep him in for this weekend, and because he's probably playing Europe. But then next week, it's 2 Premier League games, isn't it? So I'll probably be doing a double move with Alexander-Arnold and Palmieri coming out. So then I can upgrade the defence.
Yeah.
I'll just read my team out. De Gea in goal, Nilpois. Sessegnon got 5 points, clean sheet. Alexander-Arnold -2. Cancelo 20 points. Palmieri 0. Bowen 5. I don't know how he only got 5 points. He finished on like 6.92 rating. It's just ridiculous, really.
Frustrating. That
he was one of the best players on the pitch. De Bruyne 5 points. Foden 10, goal and assist. Haaland 8 points. Martinelli 10 points. And Skamaka 8 points. They have 514 points now. That's about 95k. And my best team's about 13k now. Starting to get up there now.
Yeah,
Had quite a
climbing.
slow start this year.
Just 1 second. Yeah, sorry about that, Ben. My dogs are just going wild. Crack on, mate.
Yeah, that's me. I think anyway. Like I say, 13k. My best team is now, so starting to push on.
Stuff there.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Whereabouts is your podcast team within your teams?
95k. This team is. So within my teams, I'll tell you now. I think it's like my fifth best team. Yeah, fifth best team. So I've got a couple of teams around 20k, 70k, and then this one's 95k.
Mine usually always ends up the worst team.
What, your
Always.
podcast team?
Yeah, for whatever
Yeah.
reason, I don't know. I don't know. It just seems to. Yeah, happy days. Right. From there's our teams. Let's jump into some questions. A couple of similar ones here to start us off. I know it's from Magoo. I know it's been touched on, but are you guys going to be using some of November's transfers, excuse me, to chase price swings, i.e. moving on a player will go down in value for someone we believe will raise to 0.3 to have that healthy budget post-World Cup? And who do you see as 5 must-haves from now until the end of the season? And as well, David87, how are you going to balance the price rise chase in November compared to points? Already spoke about not saving all 5 for the end of the last week. So would you chuck in a bottom half player for the last game week before the World Cup purely because you know they will get a 0.3 price rise on the Friday, 11th of the 11th, obviously before we jump into that wild card? What do you reckon, James?
Yeah, well, there's only 2 game weeks, isn't it? So I think you can.
Yeah.
I don't know if you should necessarily wait until the last Friday to do it, because there's 2 game weeks there. You might find that it's a really low scoring week or something. So you might, if you've got other players, you can jump on before that, before you get this. Well, obviously you've got 2 weeks, then you get your wild card. It makes sense to go for price rises.
Yeah.
You got more budget for the wild card, but I wouldn't necessarily leave all 5 to that second week, because we have seen in the past, low scoring game weeks and you don't get that many players going up 0.3. So yeah, I would just keep a close eye on it, see how it pans out, and yeah, you could use all 5, sorry, at on that last week if you wanted to. Hopefully there'll be enough 0.3 rises there for you to get to totally max that out. That's the whole aim of the game, isn't it?
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there pretty much. What David was saying about chucking in a lower half player. Yeah, if you could wait to see if he had a good week, say like Mitrovic had a good game week. You know he's going to go up 0.3. You could throw him in after the game week, just before the unlimited transfers come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of you. Obviously, that budget's going to be so important. Come that World Cup wild card, an extra million could be the difference between, I don't know, having a Foden and having to drop to a Gundogan. Could be the difference. So, yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. What about the must-haves then? 5 must-haves from now until the end of the season. Obviously, I mean it's going to be tainted a little bit because we're doing it off current form and that it can change within a couple of weeks, as we've seen back-to-back clean sheets for Chelsea now. All of a sudden, their assets at the back, especially, are looking quite tasty for decent prices as well. So, what do you reckon, James?
Well, I'm not sure. There are 5 must-haves. I mean, must-have is like you've just got to get him in. But I've my top 5. I've got five top choices. I would say the obvious Haaland. Cancelo, Foden, KDB, and Reece James.
Yeah, very heavy
What,
city. Go on, Ben.
what did you have, Tony?
All of those except I didn't have James. I had Edison. Had a full house of City.
Right.
I'd have all five of them, and then just obviously the likes of James to complement them and stuff like that. I, I think at this moment in time, all of them are pretty much essential. Essential. Edison's nailed in that defence. Cancelo's nailed in that defence. With Pep's comments about having to rotate his back line this week,
Mm.
I think you're going to get stop and starts with people like Ake, Akanji, Diaz, Laporte. It seems like he's going to be rotating them around. Stones to come back, Walker. But the likes of Cancelo and Edison, they are in there. So if you for your entrance into the City back line, they're pretty much nailed. And then obviously Foden and KDB. Foden's on fire. He's doing what he's threatened to do probably over the past couple of seasons. He's consistently performed at this moment in time, so he's a must. And obviously Haaland's Haaland. You don't win anywhere in this game without Haaland this season. So, which is what we usually say about Salah. That's usually a line I'd say for Salah. So yeah, what about your five, Ben?
Haaland, Foden, Cancelo, KDB, and then I've got Kane. Kane's my fifth
Yeah.
player.
Good
But
choice.
it's not he's not nailed like for me at the minute. He ain't like you've got to have him. He's just ticking along, isn't he? He's not getting the star mans. He's getting
He's
the
bubbling.
goals, but for the price, you've got to pay for him. He's not really pulling up any trees at the minute.
He's
But
one of them, you pull him out of your side,
Yeah,
he's going to go boom, isn't he?
exactly.
He's ticking along with the points, like I said, for his price. You're expecting more, but we are comparing him to Haaland. He's still one of the highest point scorers at the moment.
He's only had one brace so far this season, and that was against Forest.
He's due a hat trick, isn't he?
Yeah, he's due.
He's due one. Who Spurs got next? Frankfurt this week, then Everton at weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, could see that. Yeah. There's your five players, Magoo. Right, Brian, at the Discord. When do we start considering Newcastle players? A lot of players picking up good points weekly. Wilson, Almiron, Shaw, Trippier, Pope, Bruno. I am a Toon fan before anyone asks. Got a few Toon fans on, haven't we?
Yeah.
2 or 3 in that Discord. The Geordie boys out in force. Ben, what do you reckon? When we putting Newcastle players in?
Well, to be fair, you could probably put them in now all the way up to the World Cup. You're going to miss a couple of double game weeks because of the European games. But for me, I would be looking at them around October 29th, where you've got Aston Villa at home. Then there's no European game, but then they've got Southampton away, Crystal Palace in the Cup, and then Chelsea at home. That's all the way up to the World Cup. So you could jump on a Trippier there or a Wilson, or like even now if you're struggling for budget, Almiron's sticking his hand up now, isn't he? 1.8 million. He's got 3 goals in 2 games. Looks very hungry at the minute. Watching the highlights of the last few Newcastle games, he looks really good.
Yeah, he trolled quite a few people towards the start of the season, did he?
Yeah.
After his good pre-season. But 1.8 million as an enabler elsewhere, you can't go wrong with the points he's picking up. What do you reckon, James?
Well, yeah, I mean, just to carry on from what you're saying about Almiron, his points per million are really good, and he's only at 1.8 million. He's scoring a few points. His points per million is 18.89. We're going to come on and look at some other players in that category in a bit, but I just thought I'd point that one out now. Yeah, he's doing well. I wouldn't tell anyone not to bring in the likes of a Trippier. He's doing, we know what he can do. He's got a wand of a left foot. He's on all the set pieces. I mean, I would I'd probably, like Ben said, I'd probably wait until when the European fixtures are out of the way, and or Newcastle have got a good run. Possibly worth considering. Yeah, I wouldn't discount it completely.
Yeah, definitely. As like I said, Trippier, Pope. I think it started the season so well as well. A lot of the teams that were up there at the top early doors, at the top of the Dream Team rankings, had a combination of Pope, Trippier, even Shaw. Um, it drifted away a little bit, but they've still been picking up the points nicely. I mean, if Newcastle get into Europe this season, I think they're becoming one of the teams to be picking from quite regularly next season. Like watching them, good team Newcastle. I think in the initial blog on the hub touched on Bruno because I think he played 15 games last season and got the star man in 7 of them.
Yeah, I
Obviously,
remember.
he was out injured early. Like, he's only just come back from injury, hasn't he, a couple of
Yeah,
games ago, and
he was
yeah,
unreal at the weekend.
he's picking up points now again. So I'm not too sure what his price is at the minute. Don't know if he got it to hand there, but
I think he
he
was
was at
3.2.
3.2. So he must have come down a bit early doors. I think he
Yeah,
started at 3.5. You're just at a tricky price point there when you've got like say options like Odegaard and stuff that could potentially be playing the European games. And obviously fixture volume's important. So, but they're good options, all of them, definitely. Especially Almiron on fire at the minute at 1.8 million. Can't go wrong there. Right, C-Tobs. Hi guys, great pod last week. Love the draw too, which was for the Patreon Cup. Obviously, that's the opening group stages this week, so we'll get all them results and the updated rankings up at the end of this week. What are all your updated overall ranks for your best teams, and how many transfers do you have left on these teams? What is more important, gaining points now or building team value? Thanks, gents. James.
My best team has got 526 points. It's ranked about 69k. Not doing brilliantly this year. Team value is all right on that one, 55.7. Yeah, I've had a tough. Well, I've said before, I've had a tough start to the season with my faith in Liverpool defenders and players, and heavy on Spurs. Not enough City has really burnt me, but that team's not doing too badly. It's climbing quite nicely. Since I've moved my teams around a bit,
Yeah.
things are looking up a bit now. So I'm starting to climb the ranks, and I mean, I looked at the ranks a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh my god, this is horrific. But
Yeah.
they're all climbing now, which is good.
That's it. I think you were clambering to the transfers this month, weren't you? You just needed them. Just needed to
Some of the
refresh them
games are
teams.
good, yeah.
That's all it took. Ben, where are you, mate?
Yeah. My best team's 13k, as I said before. 21k, 27k, 72k. My pod team, it's 95k, but like you say, I've got a bit of Man City coverage in the teams now, and they're starting to rise. I've got Kepa in a couple now. I'm pretty happy with the teams at the minute. What
Yeah.
how's your teams getting, Tony? Doing, Tony?
Well, like I said, touched on earlier, I've got it's quite a batch of teams there. From my second worst team is on 538 up to my third team is in 12.5k position on 582, and then I've got two that I broke the 600 barrier. The best team's in 175th now.
Wow.
Ooh, Tony. You're going to get
Come on,
nosebleed up there, mate.
Tony.
I am getting a bit of a nosebleed. It was at one point of the weekend in 81st until Saka took that second penalty. He took the penalty for his second goal, which took the star man off Martinelli. Which is a little bit harsh, but a little bit of nosebleed territory. It's nice to have a good start and be up there and being able to sweat on every decision. I made 2 transfers in that team. I blame my little girl and her birthday for the first one, where if I'd have put Chalobah in, which I had him in at 14.59, if I'd have just left it there, if my phone had died or I'd have dropped it and, you know what I mean, the game had have kicked off just 30 seconds earlier, I'd have probably been in the top 100 now, but I took him out and put Zinchenko in for some reason. And then I got the pleasure of James saying, Zinchenko, is he not injured, Tony? I'm like, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
It was just
And-
after the deadline as well, wasn't it? If you'd asked me before, you could have saved yourself some grief then.
Honestly, I had no chance to do anything. I got home. I took little girl out for birthday to an open farm, and we got home about 20 to 3, and I'd literally got the kids in the house, and then I like phone out, right, checking some team news, then going. Obviously, you got 10 teams to go through, or 9 in my case because one of them I've dropped off, but 9 teams. Yeah, just trying to get something together. I'm thinking, who was it I took out? I were upgrading Jensen from Brentford. So I had the cash from the Kepa move that I'd done before the transfers refreshed. So I had a bit of cash to upgrade Jensen. So 3.6 million I had. And because I had Kepa and Cucurella, it put me off. I put Chalobah in and I confirmed. And I was just looking at it, triple Chelsea, like, eggs and basket springs to mind. And I was just like, I bottled it a little bit. And I went for Zinchenko. And obviously, the rest is history. I took him out. I went with Dalot. Ben, obviously, you pointed out a move I can make in a team. I can upgrade Vieira to Bowen by moving Zinchenko to Dalot. So I think that was a sensible move. So that's the plan. Obviously, after Vieira gets me star man again in midweek and a goal, that'd be nice. As a parting gift. So hopefully, by the time it comes to me transfers, I'll be up at top 100.
It's a good job you've got 5 transfers a month.
It is, mate. It is. But then, yeah, would I have made that move if I'd have only had 3 transfers this month? Probably not, because I'd probably have thought Jensen would pick up a little 3-pointer at home, and it's one of them. It's one of them. I needed to upgrade into a European player. I thought of that. Anyway, it's not worked out too badly. Learn from it and move on.
Exactly.
Don't take my kids out to birthday parties or out for the day on a Saturday when it's this important. So my top team's 175th. My second team 1.7k, not far behind there as well. So yeah, got a few bites at cherry so far.
Smashing
nice
it, mate.
anyway.
Brilliant.
Hopefully it can continue. What was the other bit of the question? What's more important, gaining points now, building team value? I think I've said this a few times, is that obviously we want that team value massively, but points will bring that team value.
Exactly,
You make your move. If you got players out, you need to be attacking the points. Attack the points, and the value will come after it. Obviously, if you get to the end of the month, you're a bit lucky with no suspensions, no injuries, and you've got 3 transfers in hand, then just attack a few price rises with good players, though. Don't be putting in, I don't know, a Notts Forest midfielder who scored a couple because you think he's going up 0.3. Just for an example. Only put in players that you want medium term, at least. What do you guys reckon about that?
I agree with you, mate. You hit a nail on the head there. Obviously, when it comes to November and it's the last game week before the World Cup, you could throw in some players that you don't really want that you know are going to go up, but it doesn't matter because you'll get an unlimited transfers after that. So it's just to do that for the price game.
Yeah, that's it. After that last round of games, I mean, do what you want because it's gonna open up in it. You've got unlimited transfers, so you just maximise them profits. Right, Baz Bestos, another from the Discord. If we were in overall now, how many City players would you have, and which non-City players will be locked in your team? James.
I would have at least 5 City players. I think the usual candidates: Haaland, Cancelo, Foden, KDB, possibly Sergio Gomez. And based on what Tony was saying earlier, I think I'd probably, if assuming you can afford him because he's bloody
Yeah,
expensive.
he is expensive.
Obviously, if you can afford him, then Edison would be in that list as well. Non-City players, I think, would be Reece James, Bowen, and probably Martinelli, maybe.
Yeah, Martinelli. Flames at the minute. Unbelievable, unplayable. It would have made you feel very good this weekend watching Martinelli running at that Liverpool back line. Yeah, what do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, I've got Cancelo, Kanji, De Bruyne, Foden, Haaland. So 5 Man City players. And then I've got Bowen, Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, Kepa, Kane.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know whether
I
that.
can afford that as well. I've still got like 4 million left in my best team so I could upgrade Kepa to Edison, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, very similar. Obviously, the 5 City lads mentioned earlier: Foden, KDB, Cancelo, Highland, Edison. I'd also go with Martinelli, Kane, Bowen, James, and then Akanji's impressed me
Mm.
so far for City. If he carries on performing the way he is, I think he's going to be ahead of Laporte in that defence. So yeah, I'd probably throw Akanji in there. So that's 6 City, that.
Yeah.
Which is scary, isn't it? Very, very City heavy, but that's what's bringing the points in at the minute. I think Chelsea are obviously, hopefully, putting a run together that could start to see value elsewhere, start to mix it up a little bit. And obviously, once Liverpool, we'll touch on that a little bit later.
There's,
Once,
there's so
right,
many good options at Chelsea as well now, like price wise. It's just if the you could literally pick a full team of Chelsea players if they carry on the form they're in now.
yeah, yeah, Mount's starting to return. Aubameyang's come in and scored a few. I've been his biggest critic for, well, probably since the pod started. Aubameyang, as we know, me and Arsenal fans didn't used to get on. So, but
Chico Silva,
yeah,
Reece
yeah.
James.
Reece James, Chilwell's getting some starts. Obviously, he's going to be switching quite often with Cucurella.
Mm. You got Chalobah if he's played the last 2 games.
Yeah,
Gallagher.
I did make the Chalobah move in a couple of sides as well. So it shows when your team's a little higher up that it does alter your thinking. You're not as, is brave the right word? Possibly. Yeah, you're probably not as brave
Mm.
to make some of the punty decisions. Like Chalobah was a good option, and I did
Mm.
put him. I think I put him in a couple of sides, 1 or 2, and that's paid off. He's obviously started again against Milan tonight. It's been a very good move. That, I'd say, it's the difference between being 175th and probably being top 50. So, but hopefully, I don't make that same mistake next time.
Yeah, the trouble is with those punts is if it's one transfer in, and if it doesn't
Yeah,
work, it's another transfer out.
that's it.
And that what just getting one player wrong can totally screw you over. Really, I mean,
Yeah,
that might sound dramatic, but I've been there. I was there last season. I know
yeah,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah, you analyze everything, and you don't want to make that move where you've got to make another move to get him back out again because you're losing that momentum that you've got.
yeah. Definitely. I mean, if you made, say, a couple of transfers early or 3 transfers early so far, and one of them were Gomez, or you had Gomez in your team, he's been sent off tonight, then you're probably looking like, right, I need to move him on. So that's your fourth transfer. Obviously, Trent injury. It doesn't take much to swallow them transfers up. And if you've wasted a couple on an okey-cokey decision, you can really kick yourself over that. So, yeah. Right, Lee Hooper. Best options outside of the sides playing in Europe, if any. Almiron seems as good as any right now at the prices. Um, James, you've put a nice table together for us.
Yeah, so what I thought I'd do is I'd get the I'd go to Frank's site, get the player stats data, bung it in a spreadsheet, and I filtered out all of the 7 European sides, and I've sorted it by points per million. And I thought we could each have a look at this table and just see if anyone stands out. Obviously, Almiron does stand out. He's second highest in the list. Pascal Struck is top for points per million. He's got 19 points per million. He's only 1.5 million. I'm not such. I don't think he would probably be an option myself. But is there anyone? Is there anyone else looking down through that list that you fancy? Ben, can you see anyone in there that you might want to take a punt on based on current points per million, or are they all a no go?
Not so much, not so much for me. But I do like Alexis McAllister.
Yeah.
He's 3 million, 37 points. I think he's got 4 goals this season. He's on penalties and free kicks.
Yeah,
He's a lot better for other formats because he gets the tackles bonuses as well, like for the Telegraph and for the Sky game. But yeah, he looks nailed in that team. And Leandro Trossard, the only thing in Dream Team, he's a forward, and I wouldn't want to use him up because he's dearer than Martinelli and Scamacca, and he doesn't
yeah,
have European. But if he was a midfielder, I'd be definitely looking at him because he's playing up front now for Brighton.
Yeah. Nice little double coming up for Brighton as well. Forest and Brentford.
Mm.
Brentford and Forest, that way around, sorry. Got a nice couple of fixtures there as a little punt, but yeah, the points per million, points per game, even ticking along nicely. Pascal Gross at 5.1 points per game, 41 points so far this season. It's not bad, that is it? It's not bad. Don't really grumble at that.
I think DT Patrick have had him in his team. Pascal Strike.
did he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Don't think he has him now, but he did have him earlier on in the season as an enabler. But yeah, best players outside of Europe, you're looking at like Madison, Trippier, Trossard, Mitrovic, Tony, but they're taking up valuable places and a lot of value in your team. So
Yeah.
and they're not getting 2 games a week, are they? So yeah, maybe Almiron's probably your best bet for an enabler.
Yeah, I mean, so Trossard there at 3.9 million, that's more expensive than Martinelli
Yeah.
in the same position.
Mm.
That's,
You wouldn't go there, would you? I mean,
No.
that's more than Scamacca as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just shows, yeah, once you can look at them and look at the points per million and points per game and stuff, and they can look like decent options, but then when you balance it against a European player of a similar value or even cheaper, the opportunity to get the 2 fixtures, it just outweighs it completely in my eyes. But there's some good options there. There's some players that are doing well. They're doing well because you can tell they're doing well because of the prices of them now. Ivan Toney at 4.7 million. That's more expensive than Jota? I know Jota's not done much this season, but it's more expensive than some top players for top clubs that are probably going to have a lot more fixtures. Yeah. So, oh dear, Wigan have scored. That's not good. So we're not mentioning the B word on this pod either. That's been coming. Bastards. Anyway, right, Matt Woolley. With Arsenal still top of the league, short term are their players a hold despite the Premier League blank and general Europa rotation. Ben, do you reckon?
I definitely would be holding them now. I've changed my mind about Arsenal. I was saying before, look at players that play 2 times a week. But now we're getting that close to the World Cup. There's only 2 more European midweek games after this round of fixtures. I won't be too fussed about chasing the European teams as much now because you've got the double Premier League fixtures next week. So, and Arsenal's obviously flying at the minute. I'd be keeping all your Arsenal players in, especially the ones that are banging the points in for you.
Yeah. James?
I totally agree with what Ben said. Yeah, we all thought they won't play in Europe, but they're still racking up the points, and
Yes.
quite often they're coming off the bench and still getting a
Yeah.
few points in Europe. So I think that was a bit of a fallacy, really. I'm not planning to take out any of my Arsenal players at the moment.
No. I wrote it in our relay article last week before the Liverpool game about they look the real deal, Arsenal. Impressed me against Spurs. I know Spurs haven't been firing, but a proper test that. A North London derby, quite a young side, Arsenal. Play some really good stuff. Could they do it at Spurs? And they made Spurs look very, very ordinary. They made them look crap, to be honest. Controlled the whole game. They were impressive. And yeah, fancied them against Liverpool. They've done the business again. The players like Martinelli, Odegaard, Jesus, even like obviously Saka has done a bit. Played well as well. Obviously got the 2 goals, penalty. So we know he's on penalties now. I think that was the first
finally.
penalty Arsenal have had. So he looked a little bit shakier at the back. I think Nunes did all right for Liverpool. He unsettled Gabriel a little bit. But they're still impressive, Arsenal. The football's good. They're carving out plenty of opportunities. They had Liverpool on the ropes quite often in that game. Yeah, their assets, like I said, I put in the relay article, keep. If anything, put more in. I think they're pretty impressive. It's going to be interesting when they play City.
Yeah, I feel a bit robbed now that they're not playing Man City next week. Next week,
Yeah,
it's been great to see how they got on against them.
definitely. I think it'd be a cracking game. 2 teams that are probably at their peak at the minute. It would have been nice to see. A bit like when you see, obviously, previous seasons when you see City and Liverpool and they just go toe for toe, and it's so good to watch when they're both in full flow, end to end. It's good to see, and it'd been nice to have seen that game. But further down the line, it'll come, and we'll see. But they are looking the real deal, Arsenal. Their assets are so cheap as well. Like to the top of the league, they're high scoring. They're scoring goals. They're doing well. So don't talk anybody out of them players. Is anybody in particular that you've got your eye on to bring in any of its sides, James?
No, I might bring Jesus back into a few more sides at some point. I think.
Yeah.
I'm more than I think I've got Richarlison in one of my sides as put in as a punt. I mean, Spurs not looking attacking at all. He's not really getting any points, although he's looked decent in some games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll probably bring in a few. I'll probably be loaded up on a few more Jesuses and a few more Martinellis, just to get rid of some of those fringe players. I think I might have a Nunes in one of my lower sides. I might consider getting rid of him as well, although I might keep him in as a differential because that's a lower team. But yeah, I'm certainly not getting rid of any. I might be stacking up on a few more.
Yeah. A block of Arsenal with a way to go. I know there were some blocks early doors, especially defensively. They quickly got moved on, didn't they? There's a few people wishing that they just held that for a little bit longer. Um, yeah, yeah, definitely will. It's definitely a hold. Right, DT Patrick. With City free scoring and scoring from anywhere, is it simply a case of stacking the midfield with City to cover the inevitable holes? Ben.
Well, it's not a bad idea, is it? Hey, I remembered last week on the pod, I was like, I've got Mahrez in my best team. And you're all laughing at me. He's still on 0 points. And he went and got 23 points in the next 2 games. So I was like, get in. That's what shut me up a bit more now. But then tonight, he goes and misses a penalty.
Yeah, and
and
then gets
gets
hooked
hooked.
as well. Oh
Yeah,
no,
because they're down to 10 men.
I've seen that. It's harsh. It's harsh because he's just missed the penalty. Red card goes in. He's thinking, just don't take me off. I need to redeem myself. No, sorry, but yeah,
Yeah. It was like they were playing Alvarez, Mahrez, and Grealish as a front three, and they were just going, right, this is your audition for the third spot up front. So whoever performs tonight gets it, but no one did anything because they were just they were down to 10 men after 30 minutes or something. So,
yeah,
but I think Mahrez has probably got more chance of starting at the minute out of them three.
yeah. He seems to be getting more game time now. Did he not start off last year like that? Quiet for the first few months. I'm not too sure. Might have just been me dreaming it up, but yeah, I thought he were maybe back to a bit of game time, and then started to find his way into the team and scoring again. Because obviously he signed a big deal in the summer, didn't he? New long term contract. Will he still be on penalties after that miss?
He's
Will it
missed
go
a
back
few
down?
now, hasn't he?
Will it go back to De Bruyne?
It might be Haaland now, won't it?
I no doubt Haaland will take them. Hasn't
Yeah.
Haaland taken one already?
No,
Isn't he not? I
as
reckon
far as I know.
Haaland be on them. Then Mahrez. But yeah, I suppose he could lose the second spot. Be interesting to keep an eye on that one because,
Yeah,
like we said before, Mahrez without penalties is not as an attractive option. That's for sure.
yeah.
I was
Yeah,
rubbing my
definitely.
hands together like that. I was going, come on.
I was thinking of you as Mahrez stepped up to that penalty spot. I thought, Ben's got Mahrez.
Yeah.
And then he got saved.
He should
Yeah.
get plenty of minutes still, though, I think, with the pretty much qualified now, 10 points. Just another two draws and they're through, aren't they, really? So I would imagine he'll get plenty of minutes.
Would you do that then? Would you stack right across and go Mahrez, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Foden?
I've gone off Gundogan at the moment. He's playing a bit deeper. He's not. He
Yeah,
was playing as a second striker sort of thing, like very high attacking midfield before a few
yeah,
months ago, and now he seems to be playing a lot further back. He covered for Rodri while Rodri was injured as well.
yeah.
He played as a number 8 today, but yeah, he's a good price, but no, not for me. But
No, not where he
maybe
is. I
no.
think Pep just waited for everyone to put him, thinking, he's playing that role where he bursts into the box. Everyone puts
Yeah.
him in the dream team, and then Pep goes, sod that. Sitting back there with Rodri, or in replace of Rodri.
Mm.
He's a tosser, isn't he?
Definitely don't mind having three midfielders though.
Yeah. Like I said, City can score so many goals. The points can come from anywhere. You don't even have to worry about. Obviously, there's only one star man. You don't even have to worry about that because half of them getting assists, goals, whatever it might be, clean sheets. Yeah. Would you stack right across, James?
I've thought about it in previous seasons, and I've thought about it this season because even though the likes of Bernardo Silva and Gundogan aren't racking up the points right now. At the end of the season, do you reckon they'll be in the top 10 of midfielders? Good chance, I'd
It's a good
say.
question.
There's a
Good
good
question,
chance.
that.
So you could argue that just whack him in and just leave them, and at some
Yeah.
point they'll become the main man again. Because we know that Bernardo Silva can do it. He did it last year for a period. We
Yeah.
know Gundogan can do it. He did it for. He did it. He's done it in periods, hasn't he? Probably not as sustained as Bernardo. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I probably wouldn't do it, but it'd be interesting to see when you got this. I know we're going to get a raft of questions now about this going forwards, aren't we? When we get those wild cards, if you could afford that City midfield in one of your lower teams, you're going to do it, aren't you? In one of your teams, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say,
There's
whack,
no harm, is there?
see what happens. They're going to score more goals than anyone else, probably. It might work out.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Completely agree with all that. So yeah, you've heard what we think. What do you think? If you're listening, on YouTube, like drop a comment. Have you got a very heavy City midfield, and how well has it done for you? What points you on, and what's your ranking right now? Drop it in the comments below. Next question, Lee Hooper. There'll be a big clamour to get on Foden now with his form and likely price rise, but Spurs, Liverpool and Chelsea will likely have 7 competitive fixtures until new transfers. City have 6 fixtures, but their last 2 European games may be fairly dead games. Does this mean that we need to be careful jumping on Foden as potentially only have 4 competitive fixtures compared to over 7? What do you reckon, James? Obviously, City played Copenhagen tonight, didn't they? The draw, I don't know what that did for their qualification and stuff.
I think they still probably need a couple. Well, like I think Ben said, they need a couple of draws. So I imagine they probably need one more win now to nail it. Yeah, what do you think, Ben?
It's a very good point by Lee. That there could be some dead rubbers for Foden, but Foden's on fire at the minute. He's scoring every game. He's got 5 goals in 3 games. So,
Not bad, is it?
yeah. So he's got a tough single game against Liverpool. We'll say tough. Liverpool ain't looking very good at the back at the minute, and Man City are on fire. So you'd back him in that one, and then he's got Brighton at home, and then Borussia at Dortmund away, which might be a dead rubber. You'd still think like he can score in the Brighton game, and then he's got Leicester, which is just not even talking about that. So yeah, I'd still back him to. I'd still get him in your team, even though he might not have the double game weeks. He's decent price if you're comparing him to Kane and Salah. He's getting the
Yeah.
points. So yeah, what do you think, Tony?
Yeah, I think you need to get him in as soon as possible because if he does bang against Liverpool at the weekend, so he's obviously going to rise this week. If he bangs against Liverpool, that'll be another rise. And then by the time you're getting him in at the end of next week, before the obviously run of games, whether he plays them Champions League game, we don't know. We don't know what team Pep's going to put out. But he's Brighton, Dortmund, Leicester, Sevilla, Fulham, Chelsea, Brentford. You're going to want Foden in your side for them games. And the more you hesitate and don't put him in, I think I'd just leave it one more week. Before you know it, he's out of reach. If his price increases, carry on the way they are. So yeah, like you say, comparing him to Kane and even Salah, he's overperforming for his money anyway. So I'd get him in. Yeah, like I said, playing on that left-hand side, trouble side for Liverpool at the minute. Obviously, Trent off injured. Do you think Gomez will deputise there at the weekend, James?
I think he probably will. Yeah, I think he's well. yeah, I mean, against City, we need experience. You're not going to throw in our new young right back for that game, are you? He's not started yet. Um, I suppose Milner would be an option there, but I would be surprised if Gomez didn't start right back. So it would be it's centre back pairing of Van Dijk and Canate because it's Matip's out now as well. Um, so there's not a lot of wiggle room in that defence. It's only Robertson and Simicast where we've got decent rotation because with Matip out and Trent out, the defence sort of picks itself really.
Mm.
Yeah.
What do you think of Calvin Ramsey? Do you think he'll get a chance against Rangers,
I
James?
think I think there's a good chance he'll get some minutes because if you think about it, like I was saying earlier, that defence picks itself now because with Trent and Matip out, we need somebody else to be able to come in there because
Mm.
if Canate's not been back from injury long, if he picks up a knock again, that means we really need Gomez in the centre. So it
Yeah.
makes sense to blood Calvin Ramsey, give him some minutes because we might need him the way things are going with our injuries.
Mm.
Bloody Diaz out until after the World Cup now. It's if what's his name? If Ash was here, he'd be playing he was playing the tiny violin earlier. GIF. I wasn't too chuffed with that, but just he's a Chelsea fan though, isn't he? So. Yeah, I think Calvin Ramsey could get some minutes soon. He's not on the game yet, but
Mm.
hopefully Dream Team put him in if he gets some minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, young man. Probably deserves a chance. John Cameron's been on. Thinking of taking out Sterling for Reece James. Do you think it's a wise move? I'm thinking James is only going to increase in value as the month goes on and get him while I still can. James.
Well, I was going to say I think Reece James is a fantastic option, and I would expect him to score more than Sterling over the season. But I just saw on my phone that Reece James came off hobbling off, so Banco. That's a lot of transfer plans, including mine down the proverbial. If he is injured, he did walk off under his own steam. I read. Um, so yeah, that's kind of thrown me a little seeing that. But yeah, I'm not convinced about Sterling now that Potter's there because he seems to be playing him in some sort of hybrid wing back role. The jury's out at the moment as to whether he can be effective in that role. Um, um, People who say he's playing left wing back, it's not quite that. It is a hybrid role. He can get forward, and I've watched him, and he has been getting in the box. But I think that's definitely. I wouldn't be bringing Sterling in, that's for sure. And I did think that was a decent move. I really rate Reece James. He is capable of some mega hauls when you
Yeah,
put the clean sheets in there as well. Great
definitely.
player. But yeah, keep an eye on that injury news now. After that,
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it would have been a good move, but like you say, if Reece James is hobbled off today, we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Yeah, he's like up there with Cancelo and Trent when they're on form. You coming out with 18, 20 pointers. But you know what Reece James is like? He's a bit of a sick note, isn't he? There's so many times last season you get him in and you think, oh right, great, he's just had a couple of goals against Newcastle or he'll score against Burnley and clean sheet, and then next thing you know he's injured again. So yeah, just keep an eye on it. Sterling's a bit, I don't know, he's gone off a bit of the boil for me, especially since Aubameyang's come in the side now. He's like lost his main man status in the front three. So
yeah,
and Mount's starting to look up quite good option now. Um, so yeah, Sterling's a bit of a, I don't know. I don't like him as a pick at the minute. Like you said, he was playing like a weird wing back role in his first game for Potter. So, but I think he played in the front three tonight, and he got whipped off about 60th minute. So after getting booked as well, so another -1.
Oof, not
Great.
good.
I've got a few
Not good.
Sterlings at the moment.
I can't quite remember how many teams I've got him in. Only a couple, I think. Yeah, not great. I
There's
think
a lot.
since I put him in that couple of teams, that's when he's gone backwards. Sorry, James.
I've only got a couple of Sterlings. He'll be
I'll take
definitely.
that.
He's definitely. His cards are marked.
Yeah, with this Reece James news, obviously off the back of Trent getting injured as well. I think so. We touch on with the price rises and how they can be quite aggressive, and how players can get out of reach. If he wasn't on Cancelo early doors, and you've obviously watched Trent struggle, James has been in and out, not doing much. The price difference now, so if you were to try and get from a Trent to a Cancelo or a Reece James to a Cancelo because of injuries, you're going to struggle.
I made a decision at the start of the season to go Trent over Cancelo. I wrote an article about the various merits of for the hub of various players, and I'd looked into the stats, and Trent was a better option last year than Cancelo. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
However, so I made the incorrect assumption, and what I should have done, of course, is put more Cancelos into. I should have spread it out a bit, but I had my Liverpool blinkers on, I think, and I've always picked Trent. I've always had him in the last like 3 or 4 seasons. He has virtually been. I'm not joking. The first name on my team sheet.
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, I should have put more Cancelo. And I've only got one Cancelo now because he is now ridiculously expensive. And like you said, you're absolutely right, Tony. I'm not sure. Even I probably will get him in a few on the world card, but it's going to be difficult because his price is skyrocketing now, and I
Yeah,
feel like
so
I've missed
high.
out. I might have to look at other options, and Reece James was going to be one of those. Clearly, if he's injured, I'll be a bit annoyed.
Yeah, because obviously he's another type. I think Cancelo is an explosive player.
Yeah.
Someone that could probably one of the few people like him and Trent that could cover Cancelo.
Yeah.
Hey, it could have been worse, James. You could have put Reece James in on the weekend, got his 5-pointer, and then got injured.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, Trent got injured anyway, so
Yeah.
I suppose at least I
I mean,
wouldn't.
you would have
At
cost
least
you
I've
another
still got
transfer.
that transfer
Yeah.
to potentially. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's all going
It's
Pete
true.
Tong, boys.
Well, talking about Pete Tong, I know we had a bit of a debate a few weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, about Klopp and whether he should be staying. I'd just like
Hang
to
on a
ask the
second. This is
question
not
again,
on the
Jim.
questions list.
Yeah, it's there. Tony wants to grill James on Klopp.
Oh God.
As it's probably common knowledge, he's not my favourite person in the world. I just think when does his brownie points run out?
Uh,
When's he getting the boot, James?
Klopp will leave before we want him to leave. I'm convinced of that. You ask any Liverpool fan, he has been a revolutionary to that Liverpool side. He has got a lot of points in the bank. We could finish in the bottom half of the league, and I'd still back him to come back next season. He's in a different class. He's up there with Pep in that sort of elite league manager area. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I've been reading some articles, and he possibly one of his failings is being too loyal to some players,
Yeah,
and maybe even Alex Ferguson, I think, said in his biography or something like that most teams have got like four or five seasons in them, and then you've got
yeah,
to refresh. Klopp hasn't done that. He's been there seven years now, is it? And perhaps he should have refreshed that team. You remember when Ferguson, he'd get rid of like Ruud van Nistelrooy, and you're like, what
yeah.
the fuck is he doing? He's got rid of Ruud
Oh
van
yeah.
Nistelrooy. He's got rid of Jaap Stam. He knew what he was doing. he was refreshing that team, keeping people on their toes.
Yeah.
And I think Klopp might need to be a bit harder, assuming he doesn't leave or or quit or anything like that, which I really hope he doesn't. He might have to make some really tough decisions in probably not in January. There's not much business to be done generally there, is there? But in the summer, some tough decisions, I think.
It'll be
Yeah,
it'll be interesting after this World Cup because usually after the World Cups in the summer, that's when all the big transfers go on. But with the World Cup being before the winter transfer window, I would imagine there'll be quite a lot of traffic. What do you think, Tony? Do you think there'll be quite a few transfers going on after good performances at the World Cup?
I, I think there's a big possibility. People don't like to do business in January, especially some of the big moves. But
Yeah.
yeah, after people impressing at the World Cups, especially for maybe some of the smaller nations,
Mm.
you usually see that some of the big names from the smaller nations move on, especially after a few impressive games. People like to jump on them early, even if that's like signing players on pre-contract deals. Um, a good example of Liverpool with Navigator that they did with Leipzig a few years ago. Um, yeah, it's Klopp for me. Obviously, I touched on Klopp into the Discord, and I mean, you could feel the love for Klopp. They were a baying mob of Scousers. I mean, come out, I got threatened to be kicked out the Discord, banned from the Discord at one point off you, James, uh, just for me stating that I think Klopp should go. Um,
If
I
you read
think
the updated terms and conditions, Tony, I think you'll find that Klopp bashing is prohibited.
yeah, it looks like it. Everyone were out with their pitchforks. Um, yeah, uh, I think Leicester are in a similar place. Obviously, we didn't want to mention both L words tonight, but I think Leicester are in a similar place with Rodgers,
Mm.
where I know what you were saying, James, about refreshing the team
Yeah.
and the best managers like Alex Ferguson. He had no problem with just culling some of the top stars, and like I say, it keeps everybody. If they're thinking if you can get rid of a Van Nistelrooy, Jesus Christ, it could be me next if he's gone. It keeps everyone on their toes. It refreshes. It concentrates everyone's minds. Maybe Klopp has been a little bit guilty of sticking with the status quo kind of thing and not freshening it up enough. But sometimes I'd say like Leicester, talented squad, Liverpool, still a talented squad. Sometimes you've got to look at the manager and think, does that need freshening up? And I don't know, as a Leicester fan, do you think Leicester could benefit from a change of manager, change of direction, change that freshness on the training ground,
Mm.
new ideas,
Yeah.
a new coaching staff. What do you think?
Well, I think Rodgers not as much credit as Klopp, but he's got quite a lot of credit at Leicester for what he's done. Um, two top five finishes, FA Cup winning, Charity Community Shield win against Man City,
Yeah,
and last season we were right in the crap at one point, and he got us to a semi-final of the European Conference League, and he finished eighth overall last year, which was quite a good finish in the end. But like you say, his hands are tied with the transfer market this year. He's not been able to buy any new players, freshen it up. So I think it's not been fair on him really, because I think he was told he could do it at around January time. He was told he couldn't be able to refresh in the summer. So after that bad result against Forest in the FA Cup, he was like telling everyone and telling all the television when he's getting interviewed and that, he was saying, I'm going to have a big refresh in the summer. There's going to be new players coming in." And when he come back from the summer, they told him they couldn't spend any money on new players unless he sold some players, and he couldn't get rid of the players that he's brought in because no one wanted the ones like last summer. They brought in Vestergaard, Samare, uh, few other players that just didn't do anything to the team. And he spent 250 million since he's been there, and none of the players really have like got into the team
Yeah,
that he's bought. Have done anything magnificent. So I think they're a bit weary of giving him any more money. So it's interesting. Like, what do they do?
that's
Do they go on?
trust from the board. If the trust from the board has gone and they're not willing to
Mm,
back that manager, I mean, they just need to get rid.
mm.
I think that's where that's broken down at that side, and that obviously the performances aren't there on the pitch either. So it seems to have broken down that side. I think, yeah, I think
No,
that's time to go.
but on Monday, like you say, on Monday they got it was a derby against Nottingham Forest. So that everyone in the stadium was up for
Yeah,
it. It was our
yeah,
Champions League night, and we smashed them, like played brilliant. But then you couldn't get them up for Bournemouth away on the weekend. Was so disappointing.
yeah,
And they did all right in the first half, but just you could just see that they were going to throw it away in the second half.
yeah,
And obviously, if he ain't going to get backed to get new players in and freshen it up, maybe he does need to go.
yeah,
So get new ideas in and new coaches to
yeah.
sort
Because
it out.
if they've got to spend the money, even if that's with a new manager, you need someone who's going to get a good tune out of the players that are there.
Mm.
Um,
It's
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
like Leicester ain't got the money either.
yeah.
They've just got a new training ground, but that doesn't come under the financial fair play. So they've got the new like top of the range training ground. They've got plans to expand the stadium.
Oh,
All
it's
the
unreal. It's
yeah,
unreal. The job that's been done at Leicester, obviously by your owners and stuff, is unreal. The journey you've been on is unbelievable. And like you said, they're not short of a few bob, not skin. But if you're not going to put that money back in, then
yeah.
you need to change that manager, don't you?
You can't just keep buying players and not selling the players off. You know what I mean? You got to balance the book.
Yeah, the trade has to be right. And I think, obviously, you go on about trade. Liverpool have probably been one of the best at trading players over recent years. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but that's all they bang on about, isn't it? That they've never spent a bean over the last 7 years. But no, but like you say, if you bring players in for decent money, they've got to have a resale value. You bring a player in at 20 million, 2 years later, nobody wants him on a free. It's not good, is it?
No.
It's not good. There's no value there. Yeah, but there you are. That's where they're both Leicester and Liverpool are. What do you reckon, listeners? Do you think Klopp should go? I know we've got a lot of Liverpool fans that are listening, so I'm going to drop a poll below on the YouTube video. Let's see what that's saying next week. I think Klopp should go. Um, James, obviously, big Liverpool fan. He loves Klopp. He brought them the Premier League title, so he's got, like I say, he's got a lot of brownie points in the bag. But for me, I think it's time for a change.
I don't think you find many Liverpool fans want Klopp to go. So yeah.
No, yeah, I've felt the wrath of him, mate. I felt the wrath. But yeah, I'll be back next week after the City game in that Discord. Anyway, from the Premier League to the Dream Team Tonic Cash League. So, James, if you want to give the Dream Team Tonic Cash League a read out, please.
With pleasure, Tony. In joint 10th, we've got Tom Brinley and Mike Warlow. In 9th, we've got Lee Hooper. 8th, Graham Payne. 7th, Lee Hooper. 6th, Harry Jones. And we've got a few Leo Reeds coming up. He's doing well. 5th, Leo Reed. 4th, Brian Gillen. 3rd, Leo Reed. 2nd, Leo Reed. And at the top, our very own Anthony Sutton.
Come on. Flying high still.
Wow.
Holding on to
the
that
Tonic.
position. Up the Tonic. Yeah. Holding off all those Leo Reeds. Like a Leo Reed dam. That's what I am. Yeah. That's my best side. That finally over the last few years, I've picked a decent team to go into the league. Right, Ben, you want to go through the DT Tonic Patron League, and
Yep.
don't forget, I'm sat there in 8th, and it's not my Patron team.
All right, I'll try and read this then. So we have. Is this 10th place?
12th place is 10th, then you've got 2 joint ninths.
Right.
Just read it out as it is, mate, and just ignore 8th.
Right, we've got Jake Bevan. Joint 9th is Mark Warner and Seth Osborne. 8th is Patrick Bryson. 7th is Tom Gledhill. 6th is Barry McCormack. 5th, Lee Utting. 4th, Stephen Broughton. 2nd, Connor Tobin. Joint 2nd, Martin Bratley. And top of the shop, Brian Blackett, Snorting Lisbon.
Snorting Lisbon. No, Brian, still there at the top, mate. Yeah. Right. I think that's all for tonight. It's been a challenging couple of nights, lads. We've not had that in a while, so
Yeah.
Technical difficulties and all this
Dogs
jazz.
going crazy. We've had it all tonight.
Dogs. we have had to do this pod while Rovers are losing, and yeah, it's been emotional, as they say. But yeah, cheers, chaps. Yeah, we'll be back next week after the Liverpool City game, big game. Can Liverpool rebound, find a result from somewhere, or City just going to pile the misery on? Yeah, big game in the dream team. So we'll speak to you next week. Cheers, chaps.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Don't forget
Cheers.
to like and subscribe.
Yes, drop it in. Cheers, guys.